You guys all say that? Love, ooh, love. It sort of has a ring to it, right? Yeah, I got that because I bought this amazing 116 PDF uh, bestseller blueprint by Jack Canfield. Anybody heard of Jack Canfield before? The Love, the Chicken Soup for the Soul author. So I bought these 116 PDFs and they're like, okay, do all this stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, this could take years just to like read through all this and do all this stuff, but I'm gonna try. And he said to proclaim yourself as an expert. So I'm like, okay, what am I good at? And the one thing that I'm like the best at, like I really can't get paid legally for that. I'm just kidding. Or am I? I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Sort of. No, seriously. So, can I see a show of hands? Who likes to fight with their partner out there? Anybody? Oh, some people. Okay, just a couple. Who likes the part after you fight? The makeup part? A few more hands. Okay, a few more hands. That's a little more fun. Luckily, I've only had like maybe 3 fights in like 7 years with my husband, so that's pretty good, right? That's 1 fight a year. Oh my God, honey, we're due for another fight, you know.
Let's go.
Anyway, so yeah, that's my husband.
Man, they can take a punch.
Anybody out there living happy ever after right now? Anybody? All right. Oh my gosh. So I want to talk to you guys later, okay? And actually, you know, Kirk, Kirk Short, would you mind grabbing one of my books? That was the one thing I forgot to bring up here with me. I'm so sorry. I'm putting you to work. That's my friend. He's a great photographer if you need one. And don't tell my husband that's my boyfriend, too. I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. Anyway, when I was 16, this is my book. So yeah, it's my first self-published book. It's sort of fun. And you know, I was told like at the age of 16 that I would write a book and it would help people. So I was like, okay, what is it going to be about? I don't know. So I kept a journal, you know. But then there was a time in 1999 when I was living this life that seemed surreal. And I was like, this is not like a real life. What is this? It just seems so unreal to me. And I was like, is this really happening? All the things that kept happening. I was like, what? I like fell in love with this guy, and I was living in Sedona. I was a Jeep tour guide. Anybody been to Sedona, Arizona? So a lot of it is set in Sedona, Arizona. And I was a pink Jeep tour guide at the time. And I met my fiance at the time, not that guy, this other guy, and he ended up having Parkinson's and like our early onset Parkinson's. So it was a kind of a bizarre, you know, story. But I left Sedona. I had 2 small sons. One was 3 and one was 8. And a few weeks we like chatted on the phone. I met this dude anyway. So we like ended up packing everything and moving to Seattle. And I've, you know, grown up in Texas, lived in Arizona, California, and those were all very sunny states. But Seattle, what is Seattle like? Anybody know? Not like that, right? Yeah, it's cloudy, it's gray, it's depressing, like to me. So I get up there, but I got there in the summer, the beginning of May, and so I was kind of fooled, you know. The summer was really nice. It was gorgeous. We were at Lake Issaquah all the time. And, you know, we're in the sun. I was like, oh, this is not too bad, right? But August, September sets in, and it's like gray skies, no sun whatsoever. So I actually suffered from seasonal affective disorder, and I started to hear voices. I actually, like, yeah, it was just not fun. And I wasn't sure if our house was actually also, like, haunted. Yes, thank you. How did you know? Oh my God. You saw it? Right, see, my story was like a movie. I was like, how is this really happening? It's so bizarre. Yeah, and in fact, the ghost put his hand through my body. And like, I was like, what? And I like kind of passed out. I also saw an ET. And you know why I know it was an ET? Because I'm like walking in the beautiful dark skies, and it's all so clear, and the stars are shining. And I like look up at the stars, and one of these stars zigzags and then disappears. And I was like, what the? Like, what does that, right? So, yeah, this period of my life was really crazy. And so, and it started, I actually was writing an article for Oprah magazine, and it was called, What Crazy Things Have You Done for Love? And so I was like, oh, you know what? That was a crazy period, so let me write about it. So I like wrote this close to 1,000-word article. And then over time, I expanded it to this 45,000-word book. And it took actually 2 years to write it because I was working full-time. I luckily had some time, after my work. I was working in the schools. I was a full-time teacher, also an after-school director, and a substitute teacher. I was also an Uber driver and a grant writer, and that was only the last 6 years in Hawaii here. Anybody ever tried to meditate out there? Show of hands? Okay, a few of you. And could you, corroborate that it's sort of like training a wild monkey? Yeah, so your mind is like a little wild monkey, right? And so I was kind of moving into why it's a self-help book, because not only is it an adventurous love story, but I also, at the end of each chapter, it has like a kernel of help to help your life, just get better. And it could be that, I know, gosh, half of you guys already have happy ever after. So I guess you have to have even happier ever after, right? And then at the very end, I talk about, actual things to corroborate, to expound upon the lessons. And so it's sort of like a reader's group guide at the very end. And, but anyway, so I learned to meditate. I actually started when I was 16. I had a psychic awareness class. And I was like, what? It was really weird, actually. I was in high school. And has anybody ever experienced how you can have like energy between your hands? Anybody at all? So, okay, cool. So that was really bizarre back then, okay? And I did that in high school. I would show my friends, oh, look, I feel this energy. Put your hand in there. And they're like, what? And they thought it was a witch. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it was weird, to them. But it was kind of interesting. And I didn't really devote myself to actually meditating daily for a long time, until about 10 years, actually, ago. And so I was in Sedona, it's sort of like the mecca of New Age, and I was singing here and there, and this one lady taught me this method, and it's really simple. And so just real quick, I'm going to have you guys take a deep breath, and as you take a deep breath, you're going to think, I'm alive. And now exhale and put a tiny smile on your face. You were just meditating now. Can you believe that? So that's all this one meditation technique is. You inhale, I'm alive. And as you exhale, you just put a little smile. And we don't think about it, but just the act of smiling can really improve your state of mind, your happiness. And so I actually did that 10 minutes every day or more for a straight year. And I noticed that, I didn't have so many disgruntled people around me, because my mind, my spirit, my heart were all, happier, a little more easygoing, because I was so centered. And then sometimes, and I was teaching at the time too, so I had, I was actually teaching some very interesting middle schoolers in Rimrock, Arizona, and it was an online school mostly, but one of the days I found one of my kids watching porn at school. I'm like, really? It was so bizarre. But so to deal with those things, I definitely enjoyed the meditation. And sometimes I would need to have a little refresher. So in the middle of the afternoon, I would just go somewhere, maybe it was even the bathroom, for 3 more minutes, and I would just do that again. I'd come back and find my center. And it was really amazing. And since then, I haven't really done it all the time, because other things, like yoga and other practices help me to stay centered. But it was a really, really interesting thing for me to learn. And that's also talked about in this book. So, I was a teacher, which I mentioned, and so I have a little handout. Can you believe it? It's like homework. No, I'm just kidding. And Dave's probably going to have some passed out too. If you feel like it, just raise your hand. You don't have to do it. It's just fun work. But it talks about some of the lessons in my book. Anyway, they're going to be here. So if you feel like getting one at the end, I'm going to just not pass it down to you. But it talks about these lessons, some of the lessons. So there's 15 chapters. Each chapter has a lesson. One of them that I talked about in this little handout, it says, be proud of yourself no matter your situation. So, we might forget to do that sort of thing sometimes. And a part of that happiness, increasing, is to have, uplifting people around you. And so I noticed too that sometimes, you just, if that person is always then I'm just like, okay, you know what? I may not call that person the next time I want to do something, right? Everybody does that. That's just you're going to attract yourself to somebody that's more fun or more, smiling or happier, right? Another one is find what you love to do and do it. Who out there is doing something they love every day at least? Oh, I love it. You guys are great. You don't even need my book. No, I'm just playing. You can use it.
You live in Hawaii.
But yeah, you want to try to find what that is that you love. If you're not doing it, then do more of it, right?
Yeah, you need to take us to Seattle or something.
I love so many things in life. That's why I'm like, wait, I do that. I sing. I play ukulele. I help the homeless. And yeah, I don't love that every day, but helping people isn't, it feels good. And so that's why I do that. And so it gives you some ideas. It even has some information about vision boards, some really fun things like that. Another lesson is to do what it takes to get to your dreams. And anybody feel like sharing their wildest fantasy in 20 seconds or less? Okay, no. All right. If you think about it, you can do it in 25 seconds. Oh, okay, dang it. All right. But there's a spot on there, and you want to taste it and feel it. And sometimes, don't tell my coworker back there, but sometimes when I'm in a housing meeting, I'll be writing the things that I'm thankful for, because if I'm really bored, I'm like, okay, what am I thankful for? I'm thankful that I have a job with benefits and all these things. I'm always thankful for my husband, because he's really a great husband. Let's give him a hand. I waited 35 years. I never got married until I was 43 when I met him, and so yeah, I wanted to wait and find the right one. And then, you might, what was that?
7 plus 35.
Anyway, you might ask why. I think I told you why the name. I actually had my own guru when I was 24, and he was from South Central LA, and that's how my book starts. In fact, I chased down a mugger in South Central LA. Anybody else done that in here? Oh, okay. 2 of you. Wow, way to go.
Not
okay.
in LA.
I thought that was an interesting way to start my book, because I did chase that mugger down, and it was a very interesting thing because I had not worked for a few months. I had these little boys to feed. Finally found a job, got my first paycheck in my purse, and I was so exhausted. I was in South Central LA, and I fell asleep on the bus. I was like, don't fall asleep on the bus. It's not a good idea, because people are like, oh my gosh, I could just take her purse because she's half asleep. So we get off the bus, and I hear this whoosh sound, just like that. And this guy rips my bag off my shoulder. I'm like, what? That's my first paycheck. I need that check. And so I chased that guy down. He was tall, and luckily he was a little heavy set, and he did not know that I had been running in Seattle almost every day. I was like, oh my God, because exercise was helping, right? That seasonal affective order, no sun, exercise is one thing that really helped me to survive that. So that was getting depressed, and those voices that I heard, they told me to do some not so nice things. In fact, one of my friends read my book, and she's like, I read your book and I'm still your friend. Not you. That was a really funny thing, though. I was like, was it okay, and you don't really know whether it's all true or not, but it is all true. So when you read it, you'll be like, what? So yeah. And yeah, my guru, though, he had been to India and Holland and Africa and Australia, and he unfortunately was a wife and girlfriend beater, me included. And great spiritual guy, I know, right? I didn't know that. I was 24. I really didn't know that he was, you don't know if somebody's going to do that, right? You have no clue. He did not. No, he was raised by his mother and his grandmother. So yes, he needed that attachment fatherhood book. Yeah, his dad did. Unfortunately, I think he passed away. But anyway, that story will be in, I think, the 3rd or 4th book called "Love Is Knuckin' Butts." But yeah, so question. Oh, 5. So there's 3 more books coming up. I'm working on. I just got the cover finished for "Love Is Crazy for Teens," and I'm gonna clean up the colorful language, because there are some colorful words in this. And if you haven't heard any colorful words lately,
red,
more than blue, more than purple even, really colorful. Anyway, spicy words, and there's a couple of spicy pages. So if it gets too spicy, you could just pass those couple pages, right? No, but and I'm cleaning it up for the teen version, because I think that teenagers might want to have a little improved qualities to their life too. So why not? And then there's also going to be a book called "Love Is Crazy Satisfying," and guess what that's about? My husband and me, how I met him. And we also got to travel to China. I was actually also an ESL teacher in China, so that's really humorous that we were both doing that at one point. So I talk about our travels to China, India, Bali, and the Philippines, and how we keep it spicy and happy. And I'm going to also share some of the juicy tools that keep marriages happy, including the boyfriend keeper and the marriage saver techniques that I'm also going to share in play shops down the road. So if that sounds interesting, talk to me. And what else was I going to do? Oh, so I have 5 minutes, and I think I have 3 left. So
why should they buy this book?
You should buy this book because it's an adventurous, fun story, and you're going to get a giggle out of it. It might improve your life if you're open to that. And I think you'll enjoy this story. You'll be like, did this really happen? And it's sort of unbelievable. So it's very interesting. The story also inspired me to write a song. I'm going to play a teeny part of a song, since I have you. And I wrote this song for my wonderful husband. Yes. So yeah, when I came to Hawaii, I started playing the ukulele. I was taking lessons at the Hilton up in Waikoloa. And little did I know that December that underneath the ground of the Hilton Waikoloa, do you know that there's like how many miles of tunnels and places to work? Yeah. So little did I know that that man was probably down under there at that very moment. No, I think it was actually at the Waikoloa Bowl that I was having my class. But here's my this song. He helped me to make the chord structure, so it's kind of cute. So enjoy it. When you smile, you light up the room, erase any gloom. When you smile, that great, great and shiny vibe makes me come alive. When you smile, tell me what to do. I'm so in love with you. When you smile, I looked long and hard, kissed way too many frogs, seeking and searching for the place I can say this is where I belong. Almost gave up. I felt hopeless and helpless. You were there all along. Love takes time. When you smile, you light up the room, erase any gloom. When you smile, that bright and shiny vibe makes me come alive. When you smile, when you smile, when you smile, cha cha cha.